Good morning, and welcome to the joint meeting of the Assembly Committee on Ways and Means and Senate Committee on Finance. Committee Secretary, will you please call the roll?
Senators Buck, Canizero, Dondero Loop, Neal, Wynn, Stone, Taylor, Titus, Assembly Members Anderson, Buck, Backus, excuse me. Brown May, Dickman, Hafen, Hibbets, Howdigi, Koenig, Mosca, O'Neill, Torres Fawcett, Watts, Yeager, and Chair Monroe Moreno.
And I am here. Will you please mark Senator Stone and Assembly Member Hafen present when they arrive? Thank you to everyone who's joining us here in Carson City and in Las Vegas and online. We are here, and you should have in front of you the third revision of the reports for subcommittees on budget closings, and today we will be hearing the budget closings for the Department of Health and Human Services, the Director's Office, and the Division of Healthcare Financing. I will remind members and those joining us to silence your electronic devices, especially your cell phones, if you'd like to call in for public comment on these closings. Our number is 888-475-4499. Today's meeting ID is 869-684-3610, and then please press pound. We will have public comment at the end of today's meeting. So with that, we will get started with our budget closing from the subcommittee for the Department of Health and Human Services. And welcome staff to the table. Good morning.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the committees. I'm John Kucera, LCB Fiscal for the record. It seems like just a couple short days ago we were all here.
I think members are going to get their package
I'm so
just
sorry.
now. That's okay.
Thank you.
That's okay. All right, Mr. Kucera, I think we're ready now.
All right, we'll try again. Thank you, Madam Chair. John Kucera, LCB Fiscal for the record. This morning, I'll be presenting the Joint Subcommittee on Human Services Closing Report for the Department of Health and Human Services Director's Office and the Division of Healthcare Financing and Policy. The Joint Subcommittee on Human Services has completed its review of the Department of Health and Human Services Director's Office and Division of Healthcare Financing and Policy and made the following recommendations for the 2025-27 biennium budget. The closing actions taken by the members of the subcommittee have resulted in a decrease in general fund appropriations of $85.4 million in fiscal year 26 and $42.9 million in fiscal year 27 when compared to the governor's recommended budget. The following comments describe the more significant recommendations of the subcommittee. First up is the prescription drug rebate budget account 3245. The subcommittee recommended approval of $55.2 million in each year of the 25-27 biennium in additional prescription drug rebate revenue to be transferred to the Medicaid budget to offset general fund appropriations and make required repayments to the federal government. Recognizing the complexity of prescription drug data, the subcommittee recommended approval of drug rebate revenues and federal funds of $500,000 per year for vendor support that was not recommended by the governor. The subcommittee also recommended the issuance of a letter of intent to provide a report to the Interim Finance Committee detailing, among other things, the progress made by a selected vendor in establishing reliable, repeatable methodologies for calculating prescription drug expenditures. Additionally, the subcommittee recommended adding one medical epidemiologist position in the Medicaid administration budget, totaling approximately $146,000, including $73,000 in general fund in fiscal year 26, and approximately $286,000, including $72,000 in general fund in fiscal year 27, that was also not recommended in the executive budget to support the implementation of a single preferred drug list for Medicaid. Finally, the subcommittee recommended utilizing a 27.5% state share of rebate revenues, which would generate additional general fund savings of $22.9 million each year of the 25-27 biennium. Of that annual total, $11.5 million would be placed in a special reserve category in the Medicaid budget account to be utilized in the event of a general fund shortfall, and $11.5 million would be returned to the general fund as savings. Next is the Nevada Medicaid Title 19 Director's Office, page 97. The subcommittee recommended approving revised Medicaid March 2025 caseload projections for average monthly caseload of 787,953 in fiscal year 26 and 802,265 in fiscal year 27, totaling reductions of $287.5 million, including $26.8 million general fund reduction in fiscal year 26, and reductions of $110.7 million, including $13.7 million general fund increase in fiscal year 27, along with recommended approval of waiver slot increases based on March 2025 caseload projections totaling $22.4 million, including $1.3 million in general fund in fiscal year 26, and $38.1 million, including $3.4 million general fund in fiscal year 27. The subcommittee recommended approval of general fund appropriations totaling $24.4 million in fiscal year 26 and $31.4 million in fiscal year 27, along with increases to county revenue and corresponding decreases to federal revenue to account for decreases to federal medical assistance percentage, or FMAP rates, projected over the 25 to 27 biennium, including adjustments to the 27 FMAP rate based on the April 25 Federal Funds Information for States update. To support mandatory rate increases, the subcommittee recommended approval of $153.9 million, including $41.9 million in general fund in fiscal year 26, and $275.4 million, including $74.1 million in general fund in fiscal year 27. Additionally, the subcommittee recommended approval of $6.4 million, including $156,579 in general fund over the 25-27 biennium, to support rate increases for home-delivered meals, partial hospitalization, day treatment, and a quality incentive program. The subcommittee did not recommend approval of rate increases for community paramedicine or psychiatric and detoxification facilities. The subcommittee also did not recommend approval of increasing applied behavior analysis services rates and recommended a bill draft be requested to repeal the requirement in NRS 422, section 27497, that these rates be comparable to rates in other states. Additionally, the subcommittee recommended approval of $43.6 million, including $1.6 million in general fund, over the 25-27 biennium to expand covered services within the Medicaid program related to mobile crisis, assertive community treatment, first episode psychosis, adult dental, and services provided to the juvenile justice population. To support the implementation of a specialty children's managed care plan, the subcommittee recommended approval of $2.9 million in federal funding and private hospital provider tax transfers in fiscal year 27, along with an associated letter of intent. The subcommittee also recommended approval of general fund appropriations totaling $4 million in fiscal year 26 and general fund reductions totaling $14 million in fiscal year 27, along with associated changes to federal revenue to implement statewide managed care for certain populations within the Medicaid and checkup budget accounts. Additionally, a net $1.4 million, including $9.1 million in general fund over the 25-27 biennium to utilize general fund appropriations as the non-federal share for the provision of Medicaid reimbursed school health services statewide was recommended. The subcommittee recommended approval of $43,875 in general fund appropriations in fiscal year 26 and $7.5 million, including $3.1 million in general fund in fiscal year 27 to support the existing graduate medical education supplemental payment program. The subcommittee did not approve the transfer of $8.5 million in general fund appropriations from the Office of Science, Innovation, and Technology to the Medicaid budget account to be consistent with the decisions made in the Office of Science, Innovation, and Technology budget account to transfer funding to the Graduate Medical Education Grant Program budget account. As approved via budget amendment, the subcommittee recommended approval of reductions totaling $46.9 million, including $9.9 million general fund reduction in fiscal year 26, and reductions totaling $48.2 million, including $10.4 million in general fund reductions in fiscal year 27, to implement the Public Assistance Reporting Information System verification process, as well as reductions of $197.2 million, including $41.5 million general fund reduction in fiscal year 26 as a result of using projected 25 surplus general fund appropriations to prepay 1 month of fiscal 26 managed care payments early in fiscal year 2025 as a savings measure. Finally, within the Medicaid budget account, the subcommittee recommended approval of reductions totaling $54.5 million, including $14.5 million general fund reductions in fiscal year 26, and reductions of $89.5 million, including $24.1 million general fund reductions in fiscal year 27, as the result of the agency estimating caseload decreases associated with the impact of federal immigration policy on eligible individuals choosing to enroll in Medicaid. Moving to the Nevada Checkup Program, budget account 3178. Decisions consistent with the Medicaid budget account were recommended for approval by the subcommittee, including caseload updates for average monthly caseload of 37,425 in fiscal year 26 and 39,297 in fiscal year 27. Federal medical assistance percentage rate updates, provider reimbursement increases, and service expansions. In total, decisions recommended for approval by the subcommittee totaled a general fund impact of $3.8 million in fiscal year 26 and $4.9 million in fiscal year 27. Moving to the Medicaid Administration Budget Account 3158, this is on page 6 of your closing packet. The subcommittee recommended approval of 14 of the 16 positions recommended by the governor to support federally mandated activities, totaling $3.9 million, including $1.6 million in general fund over the 25-27 biennium. The subcommittee also recommended approval of the continuation of 10 positions previously funded with expiring federal grant and ARPA revenue, 5 new positions to support program operations, 1 contracted dental hygienist position, and 1 transferred position to support graduate medical education, totaling $5.1 million, including $1.1 million in general fund over the 25-27 biennium. The subcommittee did not recommend approval of the governor's recommendation for 1 new social services program specialist to support the non-emergency transportation program and 1 additional management analyst position to support the graduate medical education program. The subcommittee recommended approval of additional items not included in the executive budget, including vendor contractual fiscal support, 1 contracted chief economist, 1 contracted administrative services officer, and 2 new positions to support a fiscal audit team totaling approximately $2 million, including approximately $980,000 in general fund over the 25-27 biennium to improve the agency's fiscal operations. The subcommittee recommended approval of the governor's recommendation as amended to transition Medicaid eligibility to the Nevada Health Link, including 14 positions and associated expenditures, totaling $50.2 million, including $251,546 in general fund over the 25-27 biennium, and recommended the issuance of an associated letter of intent. The subcommittee recommended approval of $10 million, including $3.5 million in general fund over the 25-27 biennium, inclusive of transfers, including 25 new and transferred positions to reorganize the Department of Health and Human Services and establish the Nevada Health Authority, along with an additional deputy director position not included in the governor's recommended budget, totaling approximately $194,000, including $97,000 in general fund in fiscal year 26, and approximately $242,000, including $121,000 in general fund in fiscal year 2027. Moving to the public option, budget account 101-3164, the subcommittee recommended the continued implementation of the public option funded with general fund appropriations of $2.4 million in each year of the 25-27 biennium, with language added to the 25 Appropriations Act indicating the public option budget account is to receive direct general fund appropriations, notwithstanding the provisions of Nevada Revised Statutes Chapter 695K. Although not recommended by the governor, the subcommittee recommended the addition of federal pass-through funding to support an unclassified agency manager position with an approximate annual salary of $151,108 beginning January 1, 2026, to support the public option. Finally, the subcommittee recommended the addition of $250,000 in general fund appropriations each year of the 25-27 biennium to support additional contractual expenditures above what was included in the governor's recommended budget, and a letter of intent to provide a report on the public option. Moving to the Improve Healthcare Quality and Access budget account 3177 on page 8 of your closing packet. As recommended by the governor, the subcommittee recommended continued funding of behavioral health services and supplemental payment growth totaling $34.1 million in additional provider tax revenue and reserve reductions totaling $72 million over the 25-27 biennium. The subcommittee also recommended approval of private hospital provider tax revenue totaling $17 million in fiscal year 26 and $19.8 million in fiscal year 27 to be transferred to the Medicaid Administration, and checkup budget accounts to fund the non-federal share of expanded services, rate increases, and administrative expenditures consistent with the recommendations made in those budget accounts. An associated letter of intent to report on baseline expenditure analysis and actual utilization for each approved service to be supported by the private hospital provider tax revenue was also recommended. Next is the Increased Quality of Nursing Care budget account 3160. The subcommittee recommended approval of $106.7 million in provider tax revenue to support $395.3 million in supplemental payments to nursing facilities over the 25-27 biennium, as recommended by the governor. Next is the Intergovernmental Transfer budget account, IGT, is 3157. The subcommittee recommended approval of $339,773 in revenue transferred from the University of Nevada, Reno School of Medicine in each year of the 25-27 biennium to fund the non-federal share of an academic partnership, as recommended by the governor. Next is the Indigent Hospital Care budget account 3244. The subcommittee recommended approval to transfer $107.4 million to the Division of Healthcare Financing and Policy, including support for the state share of the Medicaid Indigent Accident Fund Upper Payment Limit Supplemental Payment Program, totaling $52.7 million, and support for a portion of county's responsibilities to pay the non-federal share of Medicaid expenditures for certain indigent individuals, totaling $52.3 million, also as recommended by the governor. The UPL, the Upper Payment Limit Holding Account, is budget account 3260. The subcommittee recommended approval of continuing the UPL holding account in the 25 to 27 biennium to support Medicaid supplemental payments, including technical adjustments, as recommended by the governor. The subcommittees also recommended associated budget amendments and provided authority for fiscal staff to make technical adjustments as necessary. Madam Chair, that concludes the subcommittee's report.
Thank you so much for the report. Members, are there any questions on the report? Senator Titus.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Appreciate the opportunity, and thank you for the well and very thorough presentation, and perfectly articulated too. So thank you. In the subcommittee, I was very clear that there's certain issues in this budget that I do not support. However, there's a lot of time and effort. This is a huge budget. I appreciate the savings that we have found in this, including the $85.4 million in 2026 and the $42.9 million in 2027. I think it's critical that we establish a Nevada Health Authority, and so I will be supporting this budget. Thank you, Madam Chair.
So moved as read by staff, Madam Chair.
We have a motion from Senator Don Darrell Loop, a second from Assemblymember Bacchus. Any discussion on the motion? Not seeing any. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? And the motion carries unanimously. Thank you so much. All right, members, that brings us to the last item on our agenda for today, and that's public comment. If you'd like to make public comment, I invite you to the tables here in Carson City, and I don't see anyone in Las Vegas. But if you'd like to call in for public comment and you missed the number at the start of the meeting, that number is 888-475-4499. Our meeting ID is 869-684-36102, and then please press pound. We will start here in Carson City, and then we'll go to Las Vegas if anyone joins us, and then to our phone line, and we will start here. Good morning. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning, Madam Chair, and members of the full committee. My name is Sarah Adler with Silver State Government Relations, and I am happy to work with a coalition of independent public charter schools in Northern Nevada. So since I last spoke with those of you who are on the K-12 subcommittee, yesterday, I have learned a lot. And first, regarding charter salary equity, I've learned that the door is open and there may well be a path forward, and we are very appreciative of that. But second, and I apologize for this, I really did not understand special education funding until I dove into it deeply yesterday. The challenge that you all are dealing with is enormous, and I respect your work. But and the problem is a very significant underfunding in the executive budget for special education. The decision that you made yesterday was not, we understand it's not intended harm against charter schools, but I sent you a chart at 7:21 this morning that shows the result. And I have colleagues here today to share what those impacts might be with you. This is a rainy day solution, and our request to the joint subcommittee is to reconsider and select option C on page 52 of your packet yesterday, so that we can continue to try and achieve a better result and a more equitable solution for charters. At this point, charters are taking a 14.5% cut per special education pupil. That is far greater than any other LEA, their cut is $616 per special education pupil, and these are the kids potentially who need that support the most. So thank you very much, and you'll hear more from our team.
Thank you. You can go ahead.
Good morning. Sorry. Madam Chair and members of the committee. For the record, my name is Holly Neal. I am a teacher at the Honors Academy of Literature and the mother of a 10-year-old scholar. My son Wiley is curious, funny, and very energetic. He loves to design and build things. He loves to create and tell stories, and he has an incredible imagination. He also has significant struggles with learning in traditional ways. Reading and writing have always been a challenge for him throughout his years in school. And while he continues to make progress and growth, he is not on grade level compared to his peers, and he receives continued support and instruction from our special education teacher, as well as speech and OT services. As a parent with a child with an IEP, I just want to take a moment to thank our incredible school and its dedicated staff. From day one, my child has been met with patience, understanding, and a true commitment to helping him thrive, not just academically, but emotionally and socially too. It is no accident that our school has one of the highest percentages of students with IEPs in the state at 21%. I am in disbelief that the decision has been made to provide charter schools like ours with much lower per pupil funds than other schools. Do kids like mine matter less because of the school they attend? These cuts are ones that will truly be felt by our kids. I urge this committee and Governor Lombardo to do right by our kids and give all kids a chance at success. Thank you.
Thank you. You can go ahead.
Good morning, Madam Chair and members of the committee. My name is Ben Contine, C-O-N-T-I-N-E. I've served as a special education teacher at Las Vegas High School and Carson High School. I then chose to work at the Honors Academy of Literature, a small independent charter school in downtown Reno. Here are some numbers. 21%, as Holly said, of our students have IEPs. That's no accident. Our special ed per pupil, and as currently proposed, will plummet from $4,250 to $3,634. For a small school like ours, that means nearly $29,000 in cuts. That can be the difference in whether we can hire a teacher or not, whether we can get the support for an autism specialist, which we are in dire need of right now. But these are not numbers, these are kids. And I know the politics are hard, and I know that these decisions are tough and the budget is tight. But at some point, when you chose to go into public service, there were lines that you promised yourself you wouldn't cross. And cutting funds to the most vulnerable kids in our state is probably one of those lines. I implore you, all of us, Governor Lombardo, this committee, all of us in the state of Nevada, to do right by these kids, give them a shot at success. There has to be a better solution than these cuts. Thank you.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Good morning, Madam Chair and members. My name is Eric Perez, P-E-R-E-Z. I'm the Executive Director of High Desert Montessori Charter School. In the last biennium, our teachers, students, and families were left out of equitable salary funding, essentially saying we are less important than district schools. It was insulting, it was harmful, and it seems to be happening again. Current funding models include a significant drop in special education funding. Our school serves 76 special needs children, roughly 14.5% of our population. These proposed cuts would be a $47,000 cut to our general fund. We already pay more for services such as psychologists, occupational therapists, autism specialists, due to the economy of size than school districts already pay. Losing these funds would be a significant blow to our school's ability to serve one of our most vulnerable populations. Please reconsider funding charter schools equitably as you do with other public schools in the state of Nevada. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Go ahead.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the Joint Committee. My name is Christy Van Zant. That's V-A-N-Z-A-N-T. I am a parent of a child at High Desert Montessori, and I'm here to advocate for equal funding for special education for charter schools. I was disappointed to learn that the proposed funding disparity for the charter schools. My daughter is also enrolled in Encompass High School for next year. That's also a charter school. In addition to dyslexia and attention deficit, she also struggles with a debilitating level of anxiety, which is exacerbated by large classroom sizes and large student body. These factors can be mitigated by environment. The smaller classroom size and smaller student population at High Desert has been essential for her. Excuse me. The district high school that she's zoned for has a population of about 1,800 students, and the charter high school that we've enrolled her in has a population of 200 students. This smaller class size is crucial for a student like my child to overcome that anxiety as well as her learning disabilities. I don't know if you have any children in your life that have a learning disability, but the stigma associated with receiving special education is already difficult to overcome. These children are intelligent, but they have difficult challenges to overcome. Her intelligence isn't something that's measured by a traditional learning environment. I'm an architect, and I can see that she has an intelligence for spatial awareness and mechanical solutions and things like that that are not really available to her at this level. But she has to get through the basics in order to get there. I'd like to advocate that additional funding be created for a viable and equitable solution for charter schools. I think it's really essential that smaller classroom size, smaller student body is just a game changer. Her anxiety makes it impossible for her to learn. And when she is in an environment that is quieter and smaller, she changes into a different person. When we went to visit Encompass for the first time, I could see her change. Her shoulders dropped and she could breathe and become available to learn, which is what I think you want for our students. And I would just like to advocate that they receive an equitable solution. I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you so much. You can go ahead.
Good morning, Madam Chairs and members of the Joint Subcommittee. I'm Dr. Kimberly Reagan, that's R-E-G-A-N, for the record. I'm the Executive Director for Sierra Nevada Academy Charter School, or SNACS, as you may have heard it called. SNACS is the first K-8 charter school in Nevada. We're a Title I school sponsored by the Washoe County School District in the North Valleys of Reno. We serve a 98% at-risk population with 19% of our students also having special needs, and 12% of our students are English language learners. I'm concerned about the negative impact that the decrease in special education funding will have for our students. Our charter facilities account for 20% of per pupil funding. PERS costs are increasing from 33.5 to 36.75, and Title I funding is decreasing by 15%. And now special education funding may decrease by another 14.5%. As a small charter school, we are gravely impacted and shocked and saddened by the decrease when 14 school districts may receive increases. This is a disservice to our most vulnerable students, those who are at risk and have special needs. I believe this committee's work to support all children in Nevada, and I hope the governor will step up to support our students. I do ask that the committee members will reconsider a more equitable option for meeting the needs of all students, especially those who have special needs in special education. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you so much. You can go ahead.
Good morning, Madam Chair and members of the Joint Committee. My name is Dr. Kelly Humphreys, Humphrys. I'm a 30-plus year educator who's invested more than 2 decades serving the youth of Northern Nevada as a school psychologist, district and school administrator, and private practice mental health clinician. I'm currently the new director and principal at Bailey Charter Elementary School. Among our students at Bailey are individuals with autism, learning disabilities, and ADHD. A student who was homeschooled, and this is her first school experience. Those who are new to our country and do not speak English. Children with social anxiety disorders. We are a public school with a staff of educators committed to meeting the needs of all students and families who walk through our doors. We expect our learners to feel included and capable, so we provide them with speech and language and occupational therapies, a range of specialized and differentiated instruction and support. We accomplish that by using general and reserve funds to supplement our already slim special education funding. What we offer provides the best match or fit for the second largest cohort of families after Clark County School District in our state. Places where students feel connectedness and belonging. They feel success. The resources needed to serve our students and to pay our teachers lends to this success. Reducing our SPED funding while leaving it intact for other public schools isn't fair. Not setting aside salary funding for our teachers isn't fair. It undermines our ability to be that best fit. Please restore special education funding to public charter schools to match that of other public schools. Please provide our educators with equitable salaries. Honor the choice of students and families in Nevada's second largest district and fund it as such. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning. You can go ahead.
Hello. Good morning, Chair, Vice Chair, members of the Assembly Ways and Means, and also Senate Committee. Gil Lopez here for the Charter School Association of Nevada, advocating for special needs students. We did have a chance to look at the decisions that were made. Our community came together, analyzed it, and identified the issue before us. So we do ask this body to work with the executive branch to find a solution so we can help our most needed population, our special education students. We will be bringing this around and bringing it to light, so please, we urge this committee to work with the governor's office, the executive branch, to find out how we can support our most needed population, our special education students. Thank you.
Thank you. Not seeing anyone at the table in Las Vegas broadcast, do we have anyone join us on the phone line that would like to make public comment at this time?
To provide public comment, please press *6 or *9 to take your place in the queue. Caller, you are unmuted and may begin.
Good morning, Chair and members of the committee. My name is Jenny Hunt, and I'm the director of Mariposa Language and Learning Academy, a public charter school serving 95% Hispanic students and 100% free and reduced lunch learners in Reno. Thank you so much for your continued commitment to equity for all Nevada students. We know how complex and challenging these funding decisions are, and we appreciate your leadership. We've waited patiently for years, believing that fairness for our educators and our students would come. Our teachers are licensed professionals doing the same work as their peers in districts to support all of our learners. To exclude them sends a painful message that they, our students, and our families are not valued equally and they're inferior. I'd also like to raise to you the specific concern today around special education funding. At Mariposa, over 12% of our students receive special education services. We're proud that families of students with disabilities, they choose us because we're committed to delivering the services promised in every way. But we are doing so much with increasingly less resources. As a Washoe County School District sponsored school, we already receive less funding than that of my colleagues who have shared today. In 2024, we received a per pupil allowance of $3,815 per student. This would be substantially reduced based on your current proposal. This cut comes despite our growing special ed population enrollment, and while we are already contributing approximately $15,000 annually from our general fund to sustain our special ed program. As you are aware, that same fund also pays for our facility, covers rising costs like PERS increases, etc. These reductions will have real impacts on our students, our most vulnerable learners. We understand the pressure on the system. We ask that you partner with the governor's office in finding a fair and sustainable solution. This would ensure that all students on special education IEPs and on caseloads across Nevada, regardless of where they attend public school, are supported at a viable and equitable levels. And most importantly, that we follow the law and we provide them a free and appropriate public education. Thank you for your time and your continued commitment and fairness to all students in Nevada.
Thank you. Next caller.
Good morning. My name is Ignacio Prado, Ignacio Prado, the Executive Director and Principal and Founder of Futura Academy Charter School, a K-5 college preparatory charter school in East Las Vegas. Yesterday, the joint K-12 Subcommittee, Ways and Means, Senate Finance Committee voted to adopt Option A for special education funding, which provided broad and shallow cuts to some school districts, increases to others, in a massive 14.5% reduction in per pupil special education funding for special education charter schools. There's an adage that budgets are statements of intent or priority, and so we are left to wonder what that intent or priority is or what that message is supposed to be. I urge you to work with the executive branch and adopt a model similar to Option C, which was presented and available at the time, for purely moral reasons, if anything, but obviously for the knock-on effects that this will have for real students in our buildings. We have 13% of our students in special education, and our second highest eligibility category by number is autism, students who require intensive communication, social, academic, and various services, which more than double the cost of our state allocations as is and deeply approach into our general funds, and will continue to do so at a much more excessive rate next year if this is not fixed. Additionally, I want to raise the issue of charter salaries. I think there's a special cruelty in this being Teacher Appreciation Week, and our licensed educators, PERS members, career educators, some of which, like me, have had a mixture of district and charter experience, and simply care about doing best for students that are not involved in the insider baseball of the politics and whatever the dynamics are, receive a message that they're not as valued. And so I also urge you to work with the governor on a proactive solution. We are open. It is a hallmark of charter founders, charter teachers, charter people to be pragmatic, solutions oriented. That's why we go into the work, and to be nimble and to be adaptable. And so we are open to whatever, regulations, whatever objectives need to be met with the funds. But please do not, once again, through your budgets, send us the message that we are lesser or not to be included. Thank you.
Thank you. Broadcast, do we have any other callers?
If you have recently joined the call and would like to provide public comment, please press star 9 to take your place in the queue. Caller, you are unmuted and may begin.
Hello, my name is Rodney Saunders. I'm the Executive Director of Durrell Academy of Nevada. At Durrell Academy of Nevada, approximately 10% of our student body is served through special education, and that number continues to grow. Families are choosing our school because of our strong commitment to quality education, inclusive practices, and the individualized attention that their children receive. We remain unwavering in our commitment to fully meeting the requirements of every student's IEP. Our team works tirelessly to ensure that every student receives the supports and services that they need to thrive academically and socially. However, the financial reality is that the funding allocated does not reflect the real cost of delivering these essential services. We routinely supplement SPED costs with significant contributions from our general fund, and this is a choice we make because it's the right thing to do, but it's becoming increasingly unsustainable. Flat per pupil funding, rising PERS rates, and the burden of facility costs already place a tremendous pressure on our charter school budgets. And now with the additional SPED funding cuts, we are confronting deep, difficult choices. These include larger class sizes, fewer classroom aides, sustained general fund resources, increased stress on staff, and impacts on our student services and support structures. We urge our policymakers to recognize that this is not a budgetary issue, it is a comprehensive education issue, and every student, regardless of their ability or their school, deserves access to the resources that they need to succeed. We're committed to continuing to serve our students with excellence, but we cannot do it alone. We ask that the legislature work with the governor's office to restore and enhance the SPED funding to ensure that all Nevada students are given the opportunity to learn, grow, and achieve their potential. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any other callers?
Chair, there are no additional callers to provide public comment.
Thank you so much. And members, that brings us to the end of this meeting. If you're on the next subcommittee, then that meeting will start in approximately 10, 15 minutes downstairs, 3188, K-12. Thank you. This meeting is adjourned.